Welcome to Beyond Sight, the BISM podcast. I'm your host, Qualik Ford, and I am ready to take you on this journey through discovering the stories, the impact, and the empowerment that is found within our wonderful blind community here at BISM and beyond. This podcast is sponsored by donors like you, listeners like you, so please subscribe, like the podcast, and continue to join me on this journey. Let's jump right in. Hello, and welcome back to the Beyond Sight BISM podcast. I'm so excited to bring you this next interview with two wonderful speakers. These two people are dear to my heart, and I have worked closely with them for a long time. We have with us Juhi Narula and Ryan Jenkins. Please, Juhi, tell us about yourself.
Hello. My name is Juhi Narula. I am currently the Youth Programs Manager here at Blind Industries. I have been working here for actually 2 years now. I just rounded out my second year. And before that, I graduated from University of Maryland, College Park. Woo woo! I am a proud Marylander. Crab, yay. And right now, I'm just really enjoying living in Baltimore and getting to work with youth.
And Ryan?
Hi, my name is Ryan Jenkins. I am a 16-year-old student currently in BISM's Gold Star program. Born and raised in Maryland, crab, maybe.
Oh no, not crabs, maybe.
It's just fine. And this is my second year attending one of BISM's summer programs. It's pretty much all about me for now.
So this episode is going to be talking about BISM's youth programs as well as our summer programs. And so we're going to jump right into it. So as Juhi stated, she's the youth manager, and that means that she has the best job in the world, if you ask me. I can say that too because I work exclusively with Juhi during the summers and pretty often during the school year as the youth coordinator, making sure that all of the youth programs are going over well. And it's delightful. It's honestly the best thing ever to see the impact we're having on our youth. And so let's go to Juhi and talk about what does running youth programs at BISM mean? Like, what does that look like?
In terms of what it looks like throughout the school year, we have one school year program. It's called the GLIDE program. We love our acronyms in BISM and in the world. So GLIDE stands for Gaining Leadership, Independence, Direction, and Experience. That's a monthly workshop once a month on Saturdays throughout the school year. We focus on any topic under the sun that we think youth are either not learning about or they're learning something about them, but we want to tackle it from another nuanced angle that we think could be really interesting for students. And so it's really, honestly, to help them and equip them with the skills that they'll need for either going into post-secondary education or employment, helping them reach that point in life where they're satisfied and they can tackle whatever future path they want to go down. So that is GLIDE, and we focused on different topics like interviewing skills, personal leadership, career exploration, dynamics of power, a lot of different topics that we just find an interest in, and we think we could really get students learning about it in a way that's active, interactive, engaging. I'm someone who is not the best proponent of like lecture-based learning. I really love to have people on their feet, jumping around, learning in a way that is very active, and I call it sneaky learning. I don't want students to realize they're learning. I want to interweave it into a bunch of activities. So that is mainly what GLIDE is. We have some summer programs that Ryan alluded to. So we had STAR and Gold Star. I can go into that queue if you would like. But mainly what goes into kind of designing these programs is just finding the gap in what students really want to learn and understanding how we can make sure that they can learn it in a way where they're having fun. It's during the summer, it's hot outside, and they're spending the whole school year learning academics. So we're trying to figure out ways that they're having fun. They're spending whatever time they are with us, and they're getting to know their fellow peers. They're getting to know our staffers. And honestly, they can leave the program with a thought of, oh, wow, I'm in a different place in my life now. I grew a lot, but also I just had a lot of fun.
Yeah. And that honestly is exactly what we do here at BISM when it comes to our youth programs. But Ryan, what's been your experience within the GLIDE program? Like, do you think we hit that goal? Have you enjoyed yourself?
Yeah, I've enjoyed myself for the most part. Waking up on Saturdays early in the morning is always tough, but knowing you'll get to go here at BISM, meet some of your friends, see them in different places in art school, or see those friends that you don't get to see in school because they don't go to school with you, and come do some fun learning, as Juhi put it. And, have fun. Maybe you go and you learn about ways to handle cooking, or maybe you go and learn about power dynamics and end up standing up and screaming at the top of your lungs while bouncing on one foot. So it is always fun. There's always something new and interesting, and you learn a lot.
Okay, awesome. Well, you gave us one example of one of the things you've learned during Glide. So what is your favorite Glide memory?
I kind of mentioned it already, but the standing on one foot, standing on one foot with one hand on my head, trying to rub my stomach. And that was for power dynamics, because the point of that was Juhi had just started shouting at us to do all of that in a commanding tone. And her point was sometimes people will just listen without thinking of what they're doing. Will just do. And I always knew that was a thing that people did. But I never realized it until Juhi was like, guys, why are you doing that? I was joking. I just said it in a serious way.
And do you feel like that now that you've identified that that's something that you kind of fell into, that you're looking out for that now?
Now, in my normal day-to-day life, I like to think twice a bit more before just going in with the first person who's the loudest says, think a tiny bit, make sure I'm not doing anything crazy like that anymore.
That is important. And I think that's exactly it, right? Sneaky learning. You learn that through something that it wasn't us just telling you, hey, don't listen to people when they just say something, think it out. You actually went through an experience and were able to remember that. And so that's really good. Ryan, I have to say, as someone who watches you throughout the youth programs, it is really funny. You definitely come in and you're like, oh, it's 10 a.m. on Saturday. What am I supposed to do? And then by the end of it, you're like, we have to leave. And so it's always great. Okay, so Ryan, the first ever Glide you attended, were you excited for it? Were you nervous for it? What were you thinking?
Well, before I attended, I had 5 different classmates at school all say they had the best time of their life. So they extremely hyped it up, but I was also, like you said, kind of annoyed because it was 10 a.m. on a Saturday, and I didn't eat breakfast because I heard there was donuts. So I was also hungry. And I showed up, and I met Juhi, and she was really nice. She was also a lot for 10 in the morning on a Saturday. But I showed up, I got my donut, and I don't even remember. What were we doing? It was last year in January, so I honestly don't know. But I know it was something that I walked away from, and I was like, the first time I walked away from it, I was like, wow, I learned so much, and I don't even think I realized I was learning.
There it is.
So I walked away, and I thought about the things I learned, and I think I journaled about it. I don't know where that went, but it's somewhere.
Okay.
And then ever since, I've shown up to as many as I can attend.
Awesome. I'm sad that I wasn't in your first story, because I've been to every Glide, Ryan.
You weren't there. Actually, wait, I do remember the first one I went to, because that was when we did interviews, and you were pretending to be a guy who was trying to eat a possum.
Oh, that's going down in podcast history. I was the interviewer that pretended to be the guy who ate a possum. Well, possums are tasty. I never had one. So, Juhi, when you started your journey after college, because you said you graduated 2 years ago and you started here about 2 years ago, what did that look like? How did you find BISM? What made you want to start a youth program?
It's funny that you ask how I started at BISM, Qualik.
Oh.
Such a funny question.
That's crazy.
Because you were the one who introduced me to BISM. Ain't that right?
Wow.
I know. Cue the gasp in the group. Oh, thank you, Ryan. I was in college. Like I said, I went to UMD, and in around my junior year, what was my 3rd year of college, I realized that I wanted to go to training, non-visual skills training. So I went to Louisiana Center for the Blind.
LCB.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah, it's necessary. LCB. Yeah. And I graduated in January of 2022, finished up my last semester of college, and during that semester, I was really looking and contemplating what I wanted to do for the future. I was super passion-driven when I was looking. I definitely was striving to make sure that every day I was going to work, I would leave feeling good, just because work is 40 plus hours of your week every week. And so I wanted to make sure that I would leave. And if I was tired, but not because I didn't like my job. I was just tired because it was a long day. So that was really my motivation for figuring out, okay, what do I really want to go into? What can I see myself enjoying? So I applied to different jobs that were a little bit more corporate. I had a dual major in marketing and psychology. So I definitely went a bit into the business route with some of my applications. And then I was also looking at facilitating a lot of programs that were focused on different identities for teenagers and college students, and that was really where my passion was. I did not realize it was a job. I had no idea you could do that for a living. It really, really surprised me, and I got really excited. So I was doing my thing, applying, looking at Glassdoor and Indeed every day, woo-woo. And then all of a sudden, someone came into my life. And it was a phone call. I wonder if you remember this. It was a phone call. And this person was just like, hey, so Juhi, have you, heard of BISM? Even though we both went to BISM as youth. And I said, yeah. The place you work? And you said, yeah. So they're looking for a youth manager. And I was like, say more, which is how our conversations go today.
Yeah.
And he went more into detail, and Qualik told me that the youth department for BISM had been basically stagnant because of COVID, which we all remember that era. It's still going on a little bit. And it wasn't able to move because they were looking for people, and you just described what that job would look like. And then you passed on my info to Andy MacGyver, who is an amazing human being, and he and I talked, and it was history from there. So I really did start calling BISM my golden nugget opportunity when I was looking at jobs, because it was one of them that I just saw all of my passions, and my passion for teaching, my passion for facilitating conversations, my passion for identity and talking to youth or just college students about how identity can play into their leadership styles, all of that. And then designing curriculum merged into one career. And then on top of that, you add the fact that I could relate to the identity of being blind, and that just was a cherry on top.
What put you on the path to that philosophy of sneaky learning and elevation?
I love the word elevation. Good choice. I would say sneaky learning definitely came up, honestly, just by being a youth myself. I had attended a lot of different camps, youth programs, high school, college in general, those classes that I attended. And then I also staffed for other leadership organizations within Maryland that worked during the summer to teach college students and high schoolers around the Baltimore area. And so all of that experience accumulated to me realizing that we love lecture-based learning in this world. We really, really love sitting people down in a chair and having them listen for an hour and 15 minutes, 75 minutes, however long, and taking notes. And taking notes is definitely an active part, and it does help you learn. But just through my experience, I realized it was really monotonous, and I wanted to find a way to get students to learn where they weren't bored. They weren't coming to an event that they had to have on a Saturday at 10 a.m. when they were very annoyed about donuts or the lack of donuts and this one girl who was just shouting in their face. But ultimately, they would come in and the next time say, oh, I got to wake up early, but at least I know I'm going to have a good day, instead of saying, oh, I got to wake up early and then take notes about this topic that I really don't care about, that's not going to help me in my future, which, to be quite frank, was some of the ways I felt when I was doing some of my college courses. And I know a lot of people feel when they're in high school and in college. So it really kind of was born through that idea of just my own life experience and hearing all my friends complain about their own classes. So that's really where sneaky learning came. And then elevation just honestly came through working with other people, collaborating and coming up with ideas and just constantly questioning, how can we make this better? How can we make it more complex? How can we make it way more confusing where it doesn't make sense, but it does make sense? And just inventing different ways of having something come in an innovative fashion. So that's one of my passions, is coming up with a topic, sitting down and saying, all right, financial budgeting, something that is very boring for a lot of people, no offense to accountants, and just sitting down and being like, all right, high schoolers hear budgeting and they're like, ugh, why are we doing this? And so sitting down and saying, can we create a game with fake money that is hilariously has like BISM bucks on it in Braille, looks like Monopoly money, and how can we like incorporate this in a game? And then someone comes up with something cool, let's make it better. Then someone comes up with something else, oh, I like that, now let's even make it better. And so that elevation piece just came from brainstorming.
It's all super important, and it's definitely the process that we go through when creating materials for the youth program. Ryan, You have been to our Glide workshops for over a year. You told us what your most fun experience was. What do you think our most ambitious one was? What do you think was the one that you walked in at 10 a.m., got your donut, sat down, and then you left at 4 p.m. and was like, how did they pull this off?
The time that we went to the mall, Arundel Mills, which is a very big mall with several exits, and Juhi had managed to scrounge up a bunch of people to come with us to make sure no one got lost. And the whole time I was sitting here going, there's, 20 of us, plus everyone else who came, and they had to order Ubers home from the mall, and we all split up, and a few of us got lost multiple times. That beef jerky store was really hard to find. So my thought was, wow, it must have taken a lot of planning to pull this all off with all the people, the timing, the scheduling, the buying us lunch, the giving us enough money to buy beef jerky.
Needs your beef jerky.
You know, finding ways to make sure that everyone knew that they were safe and comfortable with going into this huge place.
Mall trips are always hard. those do take a lot of strategizing. So that's really cool that like you walked away from it being like, wow, they put in that work. That is something that Juhi is the queen of, is logistics. She just rocks it out. We have this joke on the rehabilitation side of our company where Juhi and I joke that past her is the best her and present me is the best me. And what that means is Juhi's super good at planning. She sends out calendar invites for things. She knows where everybody's going to be at what time. And then I'm just like, I'm here. You send me where you need me to go. Or if she's like, Qualik, the eggs have fallen on the ground. I'm like, I got it. I'm running to Walmart right now. Let's go. And that happens a lot throughout all of our ITR programs, our rehabilitation programs, whether that's for the adults, the seniors, or the youth. I think there's a lot of that give and take of people being really good at planning, really good at looking toward the future, and then really good at being in the present. And I think that's what makes us strong. We just had a wonderful conversation about the Glide program, and we have so much more to get into, but first, take a listen to this. This podcast is brought to you by Shop BISM, the retail division of Blind Industries and Services of Maryland. We offer essential items such as janitorial supplies, office products, safety gear, and personal protective equipment. Our items are produced by blind employees, which supports BISM's mission to empower individuals with vision loss. For more information, visit www.shopbism.org. So we mentioned the STAR program, Students Training in Advocacy and Responsibility. Ryan, what did you do during STAR? Tell us about it.
It was a 4-week summer program where we did a whole lot. The first week, we did chemistry. That was cool. That was like my first time in a chemistry lab. And then we talked to a bunch of teachers and other people in the academic field for that first week. Our second week, we went to Hartford Community College to do 3D printing, which was something that I always had a mini interest in, but I never thought with my disability I'd be able to do it. But turns out I did. It took some effort, and it was hard some days, but I pulled it off. And I kept some of the stuff I made.
Ooh, what'd you make?
I made a Pokemon. I made a Pokeball,
Ooh.
and then I made a cat,
Ooh.
and then I made another Pokemon, because I was really focused on that Pokemon aspect, apparently. And then our third week, we went to Texas to go to the National Federation for the Blind's National Convention. That was fun. Stressful, fun. First time on a plane. Oh, yeah, and my first time paying my own check at a restaurant.
Hey.
Good times. What else did we do in Texas? We attended a bunch of seminars, sat through a bunch of really long meetings. We got lost, like twice, yeah. Got unlost. That was fun. And then we came back, and our final week we worked on a group project, which we had running in the background the whole time, but the final week is when we really stepped it up. And our group project was we had to assemble the concept for a mini business. What was my business? Oh, yeah, cafe. Connections accessible for everyone. So basically, me and my teammates, we went through, we made a business plan, we did a SWOT analysis, and then when we were all done, we presented it all. That's pretty much all we did.
What was your favorite part of STAR?
I'd say the downtime moments, having fun, chasing each other around with peppers, playing goal ball in the middle of the hallway, that time we did that racing competition, getting lost in Texas, all those like little fun moments you can look back on and be like, wow, that was nice.
What do you think your biggest takeaway from Star was?
Independence, which is what you were going for, because that wasn't the longest time I've been away from home, but I think it was the longest time I've been away from home while still learning something and not just on a vacation. So being gone for 4 weeks and learning something new every day. That week in Texas, we had to buy our own breakfast, and I knew budgeting skills and how to make sure you could eat every morning. But Star put it into perspective that sometimes Subway is good. You can't have that every morning.
Yeah.
Starbucks may be great. It is really expensive, so don't aim for that every morning. Sometimes you just gotta go get a sandwich that's really cheap. So yeah, that's pretty much the big takeaway I got from that.
Awesome. All right, Juhi, tell us about your perspective. What was it like setting up Star? What was your goal going into it? What did that look like?
Yeah, so to give a large scale kind of picture of what STAR is, the program aims to essentially expose students to different career paths. Ryan did like an excellent job describing the 4 weeks. A very hilarious job describing the 4 weeks. So yeah, the concept really came from all of the glide workshops we had done over the last year and really speaking with students and learning, hey, what are you interested in? What career path do you want to go into? And a lot of the responses were whatever they were, IT or cybersecurity or cooking, and which is fabulous. But the ultimate thing that I really came to realize was the follow-up question for me was always, oh, great. Why do you want to go into that? Tell me more about it. And 90 out of 100 people always responded, well, it's the only thing I can do, or it's the only thing I think I can do, or it's the only thing that people have told me I'm good at. And that reaction or response really terrified me because I'm doing what I love, right? And I'm getting to see a lot of my friends doing things that they hate every day. And they say a lot of the times, well, I wish I had known that there was another area I could have gone into. I just didn't know. I only knew about the typical ones. Mathematician or scientist or all these big phrases that when you go deeper into them, you don't really know what they mean. So that's where STAR really came from, was saying, all right, I want to expose students to all of these career paths that they're told they can't do or they think they can't do because of what, you know, this sighted-oriented world has come to expect from us, and really put that into perspective and say, nope, you can do this. It may be hard, and that was the point, was to show that realistic sense of anything you go into, you're going to find obstacles, but there are always ways to kind of jump over them, and if you don't know how, there are people around you who can help. And so we really focused on doing a 4-week fully residential program, which is what Ryan was talking about, where every week we focused on a different industry. So that first week with all the lectures and chemistry professors and learning from teachers, that was education. So we really focused on students who wanted to be educators in any field. So we had TBIs, teachers of the visually impaired, or TBSs, teachers of blind students. They were speaking. We had professors of chemistry who were speaking. They were actually in CCBC Essex, which was really cool. And every person who came to speak with students were blind in one way, shape, or form, and that was the purpose, to expose them to people who were blind, professionals in those fields, show them what being in that field could look like, and having them complete a project by the end of that week that was tangible, that they could hold and say, okay, this is what a piece of being a teacher would look like, or a piece of being an educator in this field would look like. So first week education, second week with 3D printing, that was engineering, which was awesome to see people creating cane identifiers for themselves by 3D printing, or luggage identifiers that we took with us to Houston. That third week was hospitality, so really teaching how do you create an entire event. The National Federation of the Blind has a 1-week national convention in a different state, different city every year, and it takes an immense amount of work and logistics. If we're talking about logistics, that's intense. It's a lot, and it's for 3,000 people. So an incredible event to even just come and witness all of these meetings that are happening, and the fact that someone had to book that hotel, someone had to book those rooms and make sure that seats were all in the way they needed to be, and make sure that it was all correctly in the room it needed to be in. And just to have students witness that and talk to different people. We also spoke with a student who was majoring in hospitality and luxury real estate, I think, something like that. So it was really cool to have them get exposed to that. And then that last week was business, which is what Ryan was talking about in terms of creating a business plan. Like he said, creating a SWOT analysis, a financial budget, a marketing strategy, a vision, mission, and goal statement. I was a business major, so obviously you can you can see a little bit of that. But it was really cool to see all these students getting that tangible experience and understanding, if I don't like this field, it's because I don't like it, not because I can't do it. And that was my goal, to say, look, if you went through the education week and you said, you know what, I hate this, cool. Like, that's fine with me. I'm not trying to push you into a career path. I'm trying to show you, if you hate it, make sure you hate it because you don't like it. Make sure that's the reason behind it, and not because you think that you can't do it as a blind person.
Yeah, that is it right there. Wait, so gotta rewind a second, Juhi. gotta nail down something. Did you say out of your mouth there was a blind chemistry professor?
Yes.
Crazy.
I did. It was so cool. Honestly, I learned that I still have misconceptions about what career paths blind people can go into, because I found out he was a professor of chemistry, and I was like, how? That's so cool. Like, tell me more. I was just like, what do you use? What accessible tools do you have? How do you even manage teaching sighted students? I think that was a huge part that I saw in a lot of our students wondering, and me. I was like, oh, how do you deal with being a blind professor and teaching sighted students? What do they say? What do they think? How do you push back those misconceptions they have? Oh my God, it was a dream. It was so cool to see.
Yeah, Alfred is awesome, and it was amazing. Like, being in a classroom, Juhi and I were sitting down in seats just like the students, and like looking up toward the front of the class, like eager students that we were. In that moment, we left our titles behind for a second, and we were just like, "Yep, we're here for class, sir. Please teach us."
We definitely were. We sat down. We said, "We're the back row seats. What's happening here?" We said, "What went wrong over here?" So we were in the back trying to not cause chaos, which was really fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. So when you think about STAR and you think about what you set out to do you think you accomplished it?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say you did. I would definitely say you did.
It was my first time ever running a program, like designing it, creating every piece of it, obviously with other people's help, so definitely not devaluating that, but it was a first experience, I think, and it was my first time being a part of a program where I was the lead person. And so I remember calling my mom on the first day, because we were staying at dorms at University of Maryland, Baltimore County, woo woo.
UMBC?
They are fantastic. We're still working with them, actually, planning on to for a very long time. And we all had our staff stay there for a week before the program started, and one of them just wanted an extra towel. So she went down, asked the front desk person, hey, can I have an extra towel? And the person said, yeah, you need to talk to your manager about it, your program manager. And she was like, okay. So she came to me, and I remember laughing and walking down to get her a towel, and I called my mom going, I'm in charge of getting someone a towel. Like, what is this? This is so crazy. And so it was just such an unnecessary point of power, right? To be like, oh yeah, I give my staffers towels. And obviously it was something that we changed and being like, they can get their own towels. But that moment of just someone being like, they told me to talk to my manager. And I was like, oh, who's that? Oh, that's me. And so just that moment of realizing, wow, everything that we set out to do is happening in real life. And then there are moments where you realize you were a part of that, which is really cool.
Yeah. I'll say my favorite experience, definitely.
Ooh, give it.
The whole program. This is definitely the most impactful thing we did. The most
impactful
was getting ice cream from the dining hall.
Well, that's great. That is.
Look, Ryan agrees with me. Okay.
I really feel like I got my job done.
No, honestly, I would say the Houston trip, going to the national convention, was impressive, because as Juhi said, we were both in the same youth programs growing up in high school, and we both had gone to national conventions through different programs, and being a student and seeing it is one thing. You're like, okay, I'm here, I'm learning, and wow, there's so many new blind people to meet, and just so many different experiences to go through, and it's a crazy experience. But you don't really think about, well, what's all the heavy lifting that has to happen. But then being on the other side of it and watching, okay, setting up airplane rides, setting up the rooms, actually traveling with students to the airport and teaching them what that's like. Brian, he said it was his first time flying. We even had instructors where it was their first time flying. So it was just a really nuanced experience, and being able to expose all of our students to powerful blind leaders in the Federation was huge, right? It was huge because a lot of them met people. We literally set them out to go meet people. We were like, go meet people, go find out what they're doing, go find out all the options that are available to you. And they did, and they came back and they learned so much stuff. So that was very, very awesome to see. That was really one of my favorite parts. Okay, so fast forward. STAR was last year, but now it's the present. It is 2024.
Oh my god.
If you look at I know, it scared me too. I looked at it this morning and I was like, man, 2024.
Where did the years go?
I don't know. But we're here, and it is the 4th week of our Gold Star program, which Ryan is also attending. Ryan, what's Gold Star? What's that been like?
Gold Star, as when I was telling my friends about it, because I told all my friends who wanted to go, they were like, you went to Star last year. How, like, from the description of Gold Star that you got, what would you call it? And I said, it's Star, but like times 10. So you still stay on UMBC campus for 4 weeks, but instead of a dorm, you get an apartment. You still get food, but instead of going to the dining hall every day, you go to the dining hall once on Monday, and the rest of the week, you gotta cook. Good times. You will still be, like, learning about jobs, but this time, instead of hearing it from someone, you're going to get that experience firsthand because you're going to be doing a job. And those first 2 weeks, you'll still be learning new things in non-visual classes. So it's everything that we did last year times 10 with some new added features.
So when you talk about non-visual classes, what does that mean? What's that look like?
It means you show up at BISM at 8 a.m., slightly tired.
How could we?
Slightly hungry. And you go in, you get like a 10-minute meeting, and then you're told, do you have your eye shades with you? And you say yes, hopefully. Because if you say no, Juhi will find another pair. I'm not sure where she's getting them from, but she will hand you another pair and go, well, here.
Yeah.
And then for the rest of the day, you throw those shades on, and you go throughout your classes. Except for lunch, in which case you can take them off.
What are the classes, Ryan?
I'm going to go through my class schedule because I'm not sure the actual order that you guys said them in the first day. So my first class is travel. It's not called O&M, but travel.
Okay.
Which is you get to get some orientation and mobility experience, which... As someone who's been doing O&M since I was 4, the first day I was like, oh, so just more of what I did when school was over. Not what I did in school. A lot of the things transported over, but I had to learn how to use a cane in a new way that I'd never even seen before. So it was like relearning a skill I've been using my entire life. Then I did cardinal directions, which I always could do if I was outside using the sun. But then I did it inside a building, and I kind of felt crazy trying to figure out what direction I was going. And then after that, we did some non-visual training outside, which was like, I do O&M all the time, and I do O&M outside all the time. But now, I can't see in front of me while I'm doing O&M outside. So I learned some new techniques to combat not being able to see as much. Which will help me when I need to go out at night, since I can't see as much at night. So I learned something new that I can apply in my day-to-day life.
Hey, awesome. Okay, what other classes you got?
Braille, which, again, I've been doing Braille since I was 4, so I was like, what could I actually learn out of this? But I did learn something new. I relearned how to use a slate and stylus.
Ooh.
So I can do that.
Okay. Can you describe a slate and stylus? Like, what is that?
It's the way they did Braille before whatever genius came up with the Braille writer came up with. So it's like a board with holes in it, and each hole has smaller holes for each dot of a full cell, and you load your paper in, and you're doing Braille, but you're doing everything backwards. So if you want to write an R, you have to write R, but backwards, and you have to poke each individual hole. So it can be tedious. It can also be annoying because you'll go to spell something and you realize, if I was doing this the normal way, that would have come out right. But since I'm doing it on a slate and stylus, I have to do things backwards. So it's a whole new frame of mindset. Oh, and then in Braille, I just touched up on like my reading and writing skills.
What you got next?
Technology, which again, I always have my phone on me every day. So I was like, what features of my phone haven't I found yet? Turns out I haven't found a lot of them. I learned about Braille screen input.
Ooh.
Which is like using Braille, but on your phone. It's kind of hard to get at first, but once you get the hang of it, you go way faster than pegging on your keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
Also, instead of pegging on my keyboard now, I know how to touch type. Instead of having to double click on each letter, you just slide your finger across the keyboard and just let go on the letter you want, which makes typing so much quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And I also learned how to copy and paste in a more efficient way that doesn't require pulling out my hair. And that's pretty much it for technology. Then lunch.
Lunch is an important class.
Lunch is very important, actually, because we had to make our own lunch every day, which we were told that from the start, but I don't think we really understood what that meant until that first day where we were like, I made lunch, but I just realized I need to microwave it. Where's the microwave? Or I made lunch, and I didn't think of how much I'd actually need to eat. I need more food next time. So lunch is very important because it put in this perspective of, if you're going to cook for yourself, how much do you need? What are you cooking? Is it something that's going to take a lot of prep time? Because lunch is, an hour? You don't have forever. So you got to get that done quick. And then after lunch, I had job readiness, which is really good because you get to learn job readiness skills, your soft skills, your hard skills, how to conduct a conducive interview, redid my resume again. And then last class of the day was independent living, which is how to cook, how to clean effectively, how to use Seeing AI to microwave something, how to clean out the entirety of a refrigerator when someone spills rice in it. You think you know all those skills of, well, I live every day, so I'd hope by now I'd be independent enough to clean out a refrigerator. But then you learn something new, like you can pull out the drawers, which I knew you could, but I didn't think about doing that to clean them.
Yeah.
Or like how to organize your meats so they're not dripping on anything else in the refrigerator.
That's important. It's really important.
And I think that is, all of the classes.
And you did those classes for the first 2 weeks of the program, right? Just to kind of quickly touch on a couple of things that you said, for those of you who don't know what some of these things are, a slate in stylus is one of the ways to write Braille. One of the advantages of it is that it's a very quiet way to write Braille. So if you're in a meeting and you quickly need to just jot down a note or a couple notes or something like that, you can do it. It's also very portable, whereas a Braille writer is very bulky, very heavy, and it's just very cumbersome. It's not something you're taking to the grocery store with you necessarily. Learning shades. So for this non-visual training that we offer to our youth and also that we offer to our adult students, we put them under what we call learning shades, which are modified blindfolds that allow the students to work on learning things without any residual vision they may have, because blindness is a spectrum, right? So some people that are blind may have some usable vision, while some may have light perception, others may not have anything. But teaching them how to make sure that they're learning how to use their other senses, like Ryan talked about, using their hearing, using their sense of touch, using various technology and other different ways to help them in their daily lives. And it really is to build out their toolkit, because that's really important. And we really want to make sure that all of our consumers that come through BISM stores and leave through BISM stores have what they need to be successful. And with working with youth, we can start early. And I think that's where it really gets exciting, because we can make sure that when they go to college, when they're going through high school, when they get a job, that every level we're working with them on developing their skills. Juhi, when putting together the first 2 weeks of the program, how did you pick these particular classes? Why are these the important things for the students to work on before they get their job experience?
Good question. Very good question.
Thank you. I try.
I know. So I would say definitely some of it was based off my experience doing my own non-visual skills training. And so picking and choosing from kind of those experiences I've had and combining them with things that I've observed here at BISM, figuring out ways that we can incorporate those skills particularly into a 2-week time frame. And so figuring out, okay, cooking and cleaning, super important. One, because the purpose of Gold Star is to help them become independent and understand what is it like when I'm working for myself. You know, you've been through Star already. Now you kind of have an idea of maybe what you want to do in the future, what career path you want to pursue. Now let's put that into action. When you are actually working in that field, let's hope that you're passionate. Let's hope that you are getting everything you want out of that job. Let's focus on what you do in the meantime. How do you make your own lunch? How do you make sure that you can cook and clean for yourself so that if you do spill a bag of rice in a fridge that I did not know about, then you clean it out? So giving them those tangible skills. So cooking and cleaning was definitely like an easy one to plan to make sure that students were learning. Same with cane travel. A lot of our students either have never been exposed to learning shades, have totally been exposed to learning shades, but haven't learned how to do these skills at a very consistent pace, or have never heard of them and also just relied constantly on their vision, which is not a bad thing, but a lot of the times we're just born and raised in a way that's like, okay, if you have vision, use it, which can result in, one, a lot of eye fatigue, a lot of body pain, because you're learning how to stare at something closely, which means your posture is all screwed up, and then
Preach.
yeah, your posture's screwed up, your head is always pointing down, and your head hurts after a while. And then the other side of it is that you just start thinking that sight matters as much as society makes you think it does. So if I don't have sight, I can't do this. So those are kind of the two reasons why non-visual skills training was what we wanted to incorporate. Cane travel, a lot of people just travel using their vision, right? And if you have a struggle with depth perception, a struggle with light sensitivity, or just anything in general, not using a cane could mean that you could bump into a glass wall that you think is not there, right? Or you could trip down a flight of stairs because you didn't realize. And so that cane really does tell you where all those things are if you just learn how to trust in them. So those two classes, easy, right? Put it in, dunzo. Braille and technology, tech, I mean, they're youth. That's it, they're youth. So tech is going to be in their lives no matter what. It's in my life no matter what. It's in everyone's lives at this point. So that is an easy one. A lot of students, again, posture, right? They're staring at their keyboard. They're staring really close to the screen, whether it's on the phone or the computer. So teaching them, you don't have to do that. You can lean back and still type. You can lean back and still navigate anything you need to, whether it's on your computer or on your phone. So easy. Braille, I think a lot of people technically will hear that, especially if they're not in the blindness community, and they'll be like, well, why are you teaching them Braille? They need Braille. Braille is so necessary for anyone, whether or not they have residual vision. That's the way they're learning how to read efficiently, how to not have to print things in large print where it's one letter on each page. It's just inefficient. It's a way that you can read and write so much faster and almost at the pace or faster than the pace of an average sighted human being. So finding ways to incorporate that has been so helpful, and it's been really awesome to see students who have never learned Braille learning it for the first time as a teenager. Job readiness, I mean, come on now. So we are putting them in jobs for the last 2 weeks of their experience here, and it's not a hum-diddy-dum job, right? We're not putting them in a place where we're pitying them or we're making it easy and all they have to do is do stuff that's very simple. We're putting them in a real job space. So we've partnered with various different businesses and organizations around Baltimore who are focused in areas like obstacle courses and gardening to anything like IT companies, which actually Ryan's working in.
Ooh.
We also have been working with animal shelters for students who are really interested in vet sciences. So we really made sure to match students as much as we could with organizations that they're interested in. So in order for them to be ready for that 2-week experience, they not only need to have some non-visual skills and learn how to be independent, but they ultimately need to understand how to compose themselves in a professional manner, how to have etiquette, how do you talk to your employer if you're worried about advocating for yourself, how do you have those conversations. And so that's what job readiness is. How do you shake a hand properly? Let's do it. Let's do it multiple times to make sure that you're not nervous about it anymore as a blind person trying to shake someone's hand who might not, you don't know where their hand is, right? And so that's a lot of anxiety for people sometimes. And so showing them there are ways that you can get around that, and then teaching them, just how to talk about yourself in a way where you feel confident talking about yourself. So job readiness needs to be there. So all of these classes ultimately, when talking about them, were mandated. We had to put all 5 of them in there because it's just necessary to create a well-rounded person who really feels confident in as many ways as possible.
Exactly. And I think too, when we think about non-visual skills, we think of this being like a parallel thing, but a lot of times a lot of the skills we're teaching aren't very different from mainstream skills. I'm a self-proclaimed huge Gordon Ramsay fan.
Self-proclaimed is crazy.
I love Gordon Ramsay. If you hear this, Gordon, please, I need some fan mail. Oh wait, I guess that's not how that works. It's the opposite way.
I need some fan mail.
I need some fan mail. Please be my fan, Gordon. That's right.
Well, Gordon, if you're reading, if you're listening to this, I would like some of your food.
Right. Yeah, that part too. But in a lot of his shows, when he's working to teach these new chefs how to be, professional chefs, how to be in control of a whole kitchen, one of the biggest things he's saying is when something gets messed up, he's like, touch it. It's cold. But like, he's not even saying like, look at it with your eyes. He's like literally being like, why aren't you feeling it? Why aren't you using your other senses to determine if this is the right way? Taste it. When you're cutting something, he's not looking down at what he's cutting. No, he's looking around the kitchen to make sure everybody's doing what they need to do. Someone in IT field, they're not looking at their fingers every time they're typing a letter on the keyboard. No, they're looking at the screen, or they're getting the information from the computer that they need, right? And so that all that stuff is important, so that when our students go out into the world, they are able to be in mainstream jobs. They are able to live the life they want to live. And I will say, Ryan, I think now this is maybe a rumor, but I might have been the one to put the rice in the refrigerator, potentially. Oh, okay, cool. Good.
Oh, you were the one who dropped it?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. It was intentional.
You did that on purpose.
It was.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Yes.
To brief Gordon Ramsay and other people who are listening, so we to teach students how to properly clean in independent living, we will intentionally create a mess. And so I did not realize that was one of those experiences, but we will intentionally like drop rice everywhere or spill sugar on the floor and have students learn how to clean it up, because ultimately that will happen in real life. It has happened to me several times. Sometimes it is learning, like, hey, if you have a pile of sugar on the floor, pouring water on top of it is not going to help.
It is not the answer. That is not the answer.
It gets it sticky. So cleaning it up with a broom first is the most efficient. Also, just to put this into the world, I think this is at least the 5th time I've heard Qualik mention Gordon Ramsay over the last 2 weeks. And so it's hysterical to me that he finds a way to come up with
every time
something Gordon Ramsay related, no matter what.
Man, talking about all this food's got me super hungry, and it may not be Gordon Ramsay, but there is a wonderful opportunity to support us and get some great food at the same time. So take a listen to this. Hey listeners, mark your calendar for Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. Blind Industries and Services of Maryland, BISM, is hosting a Community Cares fundraiser at Chick-fil-A Lansdowne Station. From 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., you can support BISM by simply enjoying a meal. Whether you choose carry-out, drive-through, or curbside, just tell your cashier you're there for Blind Industries and Services of Maryland. If you're placing a mobile order, don't forget to use the Community Cares code BISMD, all caps. Please make sure that you put it in all caps because it is case sensitive. Let's eat and support a great cause together. Okay, Ryan, so I heard you're volunteering. You're going to give me your paycheck at the end of these second 2 weeks, right?
50%.
Maybe to Juhi.
Oh, what?
She gave me Tide Pods yesterday.
What?
You didn't.
That's all it takes these days.
Oh, wow. But okay, no, you're working. You actually have a job. Like,
yeah.
That's crazy. Like, a job?
Yeah.
Like, are you just like twiddling your thumbs or?
I wish sometimes.
Oh, no.
No, I do work.
Oh, really? Okay, tell me about it. What kind of work are you doing?
So from 10 a.m. to 3:30, I work at IT Vision, which is a IT firm. Not they, I guess I'm a part of the company for now.
Yeah.
We sell accessible trainings, and right now I am writing the material to help sell the accessible Braille display connection guides. Today I wrote and edited a video script. Last week I wrote out some pain points, so like things that you want to tell your audience that, hey, these other places do these things that you don't like, but here's how we're gonna combat those things. And I also reviewed the connection guides to make sure they, worked. Because you can't sell a product that doesn't work. So as someone who uses a Braille display, I went through every single step, multiple times, every single video, 10 separate times to make sure every little button, every little click worked, did what it was supposed to, and actually got you to the point where you could get your Braille display connected.
What is a Braille display, Ryan?
A Braille display is a digital Braille input tool. It's like a Bluetooth keyboard, but you can write in Braille. You use all the finger placements for Braille, and it displays Braille at the bottom, hence the name.
And are you enjoying your job?
Yeah, it's fun. I haven't ran into any parts that I didn't like so far. We got a week, but there's nothing I didn't like.
Awesome. Did you just like sit down and start working? Did you have to do anything before you started working for IT?
I talked to my boss a month before. It wasn't like an interview, but it was a, what do you want out of this? What do you want me to do out of this? And are there any things we need to talk about before we get started? Ways that you think you might need help, or places that you want to get stronger at that we can help you with while you're still helping us.
Awesome. And then did you have to do an intake process?
Oh, yeah.
Very articulate.
I tried to
love
wipe
it.
that from my memory, to be honest.
We all do, Ryan. We all do. What was that intake process like?
It was a lot because you had to remember your social security number and you had to remember, where is this money going? So how are you going to receive your paychecks? And then they started asking me questions about my taxes, which I don't do.
You're lucky.
I am. And there was the security questions. They're like, what's your mother's maiden name? What was your first pet's name? What was your school? And I was like, if I ever get locked out, I'm not going to remember how to get back in. So I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, so you got the full experience. You got to talk to your employer. You got to do the intake. You actually went to our HR department and worked in putting your information into our payroll system here at BISM, because that's one of the ways that we really wanted to make sure that you guys got that experience, because that's real. Like, that's a real thing that you're going to have to do when you get a job.
Yay.
I know. And do you think that experience like helped prepare you? Do you feel like you're going to be more prepared the next time you were to go look for a job? Or
Definitely, especially with like the intake process stuff. Now that I know a lot of those questions and what they mean, since when I was at HR, I asked a whole lot of questions and wrote a whole lot of stuff down. I know what a lot of the things that they were asking for means now, and I know how to like handle that, and I remember all like the information I need.
yeah.
So I will next time be able to hopefully do it in less time and get everything set up without panicking about, oh, it's asking for a phone code again, even though I swear I just did it, because now I'll know how to handle it.
Cool. All right, Juhi, any thoughts that you want to add on for Gold Star, and also just sort of wrapping up what your thoughts are about like what we're doing here with the youth programming?
I would say, in terms of wrapping up, these are where the memories are at, I think, in my head and in my heart, is hearing, students getting to do an intake process for the first time and getting that space to ask questions. I think not many people get that experience. I dang well wish I had that experience, because this was my first job. I did not realize how much taxes took out of your salary, and I didn't realize what a W-2 was, or 9-9, or any of that stuff. And so I think, and Qualik, you can definitely speak to this too, I know you can relate, but getting to provide these experiences for people so that they're exposed to it before a time where they're going to absolutely need to respond in a very quick manner is what we aim to do. So we aim to put them in situations where they have to problem solve, but we're there, we're not going to speak. We're just going to stand there and watch you problem solve, but at least you're doing it in a way where you're fully safe and you're getting to be that independent person, so that when that problem actually happens, you know that you can handle it. You don't know how, but you know you can. And so providing those problem-solving experiences, providing those independent experiences of making your own lunch, or even for STAR, just understanding what you have to do, flying for the first time, or signing your own check, which to me was one of my highlights for STAR, was realizing that a student had never signed a check before and they did during that moment. So creating those experiences so that they feel more prepared is what matters. It can be as minor as knowing how to tie your shoes to something as major as flying for the first time without your parents. So all of those things, I think, I know I value, and so that's what we strive for here at BISM and a lot of the blindness organizations here. We want to provide that healthy blindness philosophy and help people realize the earlier the possible, help them realize that you can do it. It's going to take time, and you need to go through those phases of messing up to understand that you can grow from them, as opposed to just doing everything correct the first time and not learning from it. So creating that kind of space for students to go through that is my goal, and having them do it in a sneaky learning way.
And that's it, right? Juhi touched on it. It is making sure that our students come in with the idea and expectation that they're going to learn a lot, and they leave knowing that they did, and having a lot of positive reinforcement to back up the fact that they did, and to back up the fact that they now can be confident in the skills that they developed, and that they can be confident in understanding that it's okay not to know how to do something, and ultimately to make sure that they enjoy these moments of learning, because learning should be something you enjoy, because there's so much to learn and there's so many ways to learn it. But when you enjoy what you're learning, it sticks with you so much longer, and it just creates that happy feeling. And talking about happy feelings and positive reinforcement, Ryan, I have probably the most important question for you of this podcast. Are you ready?
Sure.
Are you sure, Ryan? Are you sure? Are you so sure?
Because it that you're gonna pay me?
No.
Oh.
No. You're
No,
supposed to
I'm
pay
still
me, Ryan. You're supposed to pay me.
No.
Oh no, tragic. Okay, I guess I can't be paid. It's okay. It's okay. No, if you don't know the answer to this question, Juhi's heart will be forever broken.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
this is high stakes, Ryan. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay.
Apparently.
What is the BISM Youth Program mascot?
We have one of those.
Ryan, no.
Oh, wait. Is it the peppers?
It is. What is it then? Say it. You know it.
Pepe Le Pew? The
Pepper Le Q, aka our jalapeno peppers. We have a lot of inflated jalapeno peppers. One of them, which is in the room with us, and it is a running theme for lots of our events. So if you ever come to BISM to check out what we're doing, make sure that you get to see our jalapeno mascots, and you get to see our wonderful Huskers. Huskers is sitting next to me. He's our big fluffy stuffed animal. ESA, our boss believes he looks like a raccoon, so he's
You know what? I can see it. I can kind of.
But he is a husky supposedly. But come and find out for yourself. We love to have all of you learn more about what BISM's doing for our youth programs. But for now, we are signing off. Thank you, Juhi. Thank you, Ryan, for being here and having this conversation with me. It's been wonderful. I always love working with the two of you. And do you guys have any last words? Last comments?
Yeah, we just wanted to say thank you so much for having us, the esteemed Qualik Ford, as the host. Always happy to be here and just talk to you guys. So thank you.
Thank you. Ryan, you got anything?
Yeah, it's been fun talking about all the previous experiences, and hopefully, maybe if we do this again when this year is over, the ones that I'll make after this. So thank you for having me on.
Awesome. Well, this has been the Beyond Sight BISM podcast. Thank you all for listening. Without the support from generous donors like you, stories like Ryan's wouldn't be possible. Thanks to your contributions, Ryan was able to participate in the Gold Star program, where, as you heard, he gained independence and confidence. There are so many more stories waiting to be written. Help us continue to empower individuals like Ryan so they can write their own stories. Please donate today at bism.org. Your support makes all the difference. Thank you.